Very good morning, everyone present in the class. I hope I am audible to all. Good morning, everyone. I'm audible. Great. So let's continue the journey with one Spring Boot application. One Spring Boot application getting connected to multiple databases. That means it should get connected to PostgreSQL. It should get connected to MySQL at a time. In one go, this application should get connected to both and should able to get access here. Not multiple tables, multiple databases itself. Different DBMSs you can say. Two different DBMSs, my Spring Boot application should get connected and perform the operation. Both the tables I have added some data in the Postgre and in the MySQL, and I want to get connected and fetch whether if I am able to get connected to the database or not. Fine. For which I may have to write a program, right? So let me just share this. Those who have come late. My dear friends, in a one class in Java, suppose there is a class here, class alpha. Inside this class, I have created one variable called as integer type of age. Can I create one more variable which is of age type? Can I create one more variable of same variable name, guys? Is it possible? No, right? In a project, if there is an alpha class, can I create one more alpha class? Not possible. Keep this in mind. I would like to go back to my application and I have a quick question to everyone present in the class. Any application I would like to open here? Any application in that matter. I would like to open this. Guys, using this information, I have specified what is a database I'm going to use. This is present inside which system, what is the name or address of the server. In that server, what is the name of database? DBMS present inside this server, inside this computer. Inside this computer, inside this DBMS, we have a database called as finisher. I want to get connected there. And using this, I have specified username and password and other information. Spring.datasource.url. It is a predefined key. In this key, I'm adding this value, correct? Now, I want to get connected to PostgreSQL also. If you want to get connected to PostgreSQL, this is the same predefined key you have to use. And if this key has already been used for a different DBMS, can we use same key for one more database? If you ask me, it's not possible. It's not allowed. I cannot say here PostgreSQL. Same key you cannot use for multiple purpose inside one file here. Are you all there, everyone? And you might say you can create a different profile. I can create a different profile, but you have to choose right at one time which profile you want to work. That way it will not. I want at one position, at one given point of time, my application must be connecting with multiple databases. Are you all in the class trying to understand what I am saying here? For that, we have to, okay, let me open this also here. Any application you take, I cannot use this once again. This has been already used. It's not allowed here. Okay. That's where what to do. What is the solution for this? The solution is very, very, very simple. As a developer, you have to write configuration for that. That means in the Java code, you have to specify the configuration which you have done in application.properties. We cannot have a same key for multiple purpose. One key can be written only once. And the same key must be used to get connected to Postgre also. The same key must be used to get connected to Postgre with username and password. If I am already using that for MySQL, can I use the same keys for PostgreSQL inside the same field? The answer is no, it is not possible. For which what to do? Don't specify anything in application.properties. Write the code. If you specify that much in application.properties, the advantage is Spring Data API by default implements transaction. Transactions are implemented by default. What are transactions, guys? Either everything should happen or nothing should happen. That's the meaning of transaction. And transactions are by default implemented. Now, if you don't want to do, or if you don't want to give the information about the data source in the application.properties using the predefined keys, you have to do by writing the Java code, the same configuration, for which by default transactions will not be implemented. As a developer, you have to write the code to implement that also. Okay. So now I may have to write a Java code instead of application.properties in order to configure the data source. Because right now my Spring Boot application is getting connected to multiple DBMSs. So that's the only option I have here. Let me go back here. Maven project Java, any latest version after 3? I will say com.telescope. Artifact, I would like to give it as multi-DB project. And what are the dependencies we have to add? I want to create a REST API, some endpoints, DevTool. I want auto reloading, then DevTools. I want to use data JPA for the repository layer, data JPA. I want to get connected to MySQL dependency, MySQL driver. I want to get connected to PostgreSQL also. So PostgreSQL driver also I have added. These are the dependencies. Data JP is a repository layer. These two databases I have to get connected to create the endpoints for the hot auto reload. I would like to just generate this project. The project will be generated. I would like to go back here. I would like to go to my downloads. From the downloads, I would like to take this project, go back to the D drive. In the D drive, we have a data. Inside the data, I would like to add this. I'll say right click, extract the project. After extracting, I'll say right click, let this, all right. I would like to go back here, guys. I'll say file, I'll say import the existing Maven project. And the name of the existing Maven project will be MultiDB project. It is importing. It is imported successfully, guys. Pom.xml is the first part. I have to open and check if all the dependencies rightly added. Yes, it's part of your game. Now I'll go back here in the application.properties. I'll go back here and I'll specify what I'm going to specify here. I'll say here server.port equals to maybe 8484. Any port number of your own choice. It should not be a concern. Now coming to the data source configuration, we usually use predefined keys. And right now I have multiple databases, multiple passwords. Can I use same predefined keys multiple times inside one application.properties files is the question. What is your answer, my dear friends? It's not possible. Now, how do I specify Then that I have what? How should I tell that I'm going to use PostgreSQL and MySQL both? For which you have to write the Java code. You have to specify that by using the Java code. Now let me go back here. Let me just create some packages. I'll go back here. I'll say right click, create the model. I would like to go and create the package dot model. Maybe two entity classes I would like to work with. One is product, one is customer. Model dot, I'll say customer. Okay. I would like to go back here, right click, new package. I'll say dot model dot maybe product. I would like to go back to my customer. I'll say right click, create a class, the model class, the entity class on which I would like to work with. I'll say here customer. Because customer table I have already created, some data is there in my database and I want to retrieve that data from there. Okay. I would like to just go back here and add some parameter. The agenda here is not to perform, not to say which CRUD operation I want to perform, whether to insert or delete. The whatever we have seen, all type of CRUD operations. It's like, are we able to get connected there by writing our own configuration in the Java code and perform the operation? That's the main end goal here. I'll say here entity, import it. Go back here and say private integer type of customer ID, private string type of customer name, private string type of email. Okay, string type of email. After which I'll go back to my ID. I'll say yeah, this is my predefined ID. All right. And if I have to add something, I'll say don't add it by myself. I'll say auto generated values. I'll say strategy equals to generation type dot auto. We had some holidays in between. If not, we would have been at the end of this entire course almost, or maybe you could have ended also. Apology for that. As per the plan, second weekend of the December was the last class as per the plan which was made, but unfortunately due to some unavoidable holidays and all, we could not able to reach and we had to delay for 10-15 days. I would like to go back here, save source, constructor using field. Anyway, I have no plan of adding some data here. So yeah, it's okay. This much is sufficient. I'll go back here. I'll say right click, new. I'll create a class. Name of the class, I'll give it as product. That's the name of the class. And I would like to just go back at the top as normal. Entity. Guys, Monday onwards, microservices and remaining all topics will be done under the umbrella of microservices. Okay. And microservices you cannot ignore. I'll make sure to simplify. All the major components will be covered there and it is very, very important. I'll say private integer type of PID. And Monday or Tuesday I'll discuss one project also, and I'll share you one more project link of you know e-commerce type of application with Navin sir's video also, but other project only the code. Approximately, because 1 week is must, after which we shall see if what topics are needed. The minimum topic which you must be knowing in the microservices is Eureka server, API gateway, routing, filtering, admin server, Zipkin server, Spring Cloud config server, Fin client, that is enabling the communication between multiple microservices, and how to make application resilient by implementing the circuit breaker pattern, retry pattern, writing the fallback logics. If you could able to complete this, There is nothing extra in the microservices. Under the same components umbrella only, extra also we have to discuss. Okay. Redis server and Kafka also I have to discuss. So maybe approximately 2 weeks of remaining courses pending. Okay. And guys, one more quick thing. Cloud deployment will be uploaded next week, and people are also asking about the Jenkins video. I have to record, and I'm in the process of recording that. It will take 1 or 2 weeks of delay in uploading the Jenkins video. Okay. Generation type dot auto. I would like to go back here and say right click. I'll say source, generate setters and getters for the same. I'll say right click, source, generate the toString method. Done. Guess two model classes are ready. After a model, I would like to go and create the repositories. I'll say right click, new package. I'll create the package. I'll say dot repository for the customer. Okay. And I'll create one more package. Right click. I'll say new package. I'll say repository for the product. I would like to go back here and I would like to create the interface. We just have to create the interface, right? I'll say I customer repository. And we have to add any of this. Let's go with JP. Okay. It's easier. It will work with list instead of iterable. I would like to work with customer type of data. I'll say customer. I would like to say integer. My dear friends, very often you'll see some of the code files if you open and check. Here, either serializable will be mentioned or long will be mentioned. Why long in place of integer? Most often they are mentioning, guys. What could be the reason for that? Any answers from anywhere? Because integer can hold a limited data, if all of you could able to recall. Yeah. Product repository. Exactly. I would like to go back here. I would like to say here, okay, finish. And here I would like to specify as normal, as everyone knows, it is product and it is integer. Guys, 8th of January, Java plus Spring Boot plus microservices batch is launching. 8th of January, Java plus Spring Boot plus microservices batch is launching. Okay. You can refer your friends if you feel like. From the scratch, it will be starting from the 8th of January, weekday batch. It is evening batch, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Indian Standard Time. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Done. The repository part is done, my dear friends, all of you. I would like to just go back here. I'll say right click, new, create a package for our REST APIs. I'll say here, REST. I will just write one common controller for both. I will not write customer or product controller, though it is recommended to have a separate controllers. Maybe I'll say here MultiDB controller. Okay. And I would like to just go back here. I should be writing the service layer. As you all know, in the service layer, I have to invoke these methods. However, I'm writing this inside this only. Oops, what did I create it? My bad. I would like to go back here and create a class which is MultiDB controller. everyone knows we have developed enough of applications that we have to have a service layer, and there only we have to use the repository layer. But I'm directly using here because the end goal is not to show you. We have seen what we had to see. I am auto wiring the customer repository type repository. I would like to go back here and say auto wired. Oops. Okay. I would like to say here private. Writing one extra class and writing this logic there, or writing here. I don't think so any one of you have planned. All of you have understood enough in a way that you will be in a position to understand, even if I write something like this. Okay, everyone. Two endpoints I have to write, guys, directly. I can write inside the service, and from there I can invoke here, but no problem. I'll say here list of customers. I would like to say here get all customers. Okay. I would like to go back here and say repository number 2 or 1, repository number 1 dot find all. It is giving me list of customers. I would like to import this, and I will say here return. We have to write properly inside the service layer. From there, we have to invoke that in the controller. We have to write inside the response entity all the history, geography of how to write business and the controller layer. Everyone knows by default. Are you all with me? Yes, no, maybe. Simply, I'm just writing here. Okay. I would like to just go back here. And similar to this, I would like to write, because what operations we are performing is not the major deal here. I'll say here repository 2. I'll say here product. Done. Done. Now the important part comes into picture. Should I write the configuration inside the application.properties? No. I would like to create a separate package for this. I'll create one package. Name of the package I would like to give here as .config. I will say here .configuration 1. I would like to just hit this. Again, I'll create one more package. I will write .configuration number 2. Two classes. Inside this class, whatever usually we used to write inside the application.properties, now we are going to write inside the Java code. I would like to go here, right click, and I will write a class here. Name of the class, I would like to give whatever you want. I'll say here database number 1 configuration. I would like to go back here and write a class. I will say here database number 2 configuration. I would like to go back here at the top of this class. I would like to just say here configuration. That's the basic. Apart from this, my dear friends, two more annotations you have to write. One more I will write at the end. Now we have to also write here enable transaction management. Enable transaction. See guys, by default in the data JPA, whenever you write the data source configuration inside the application.properties in the key value format, you need not to specify separately something for the transactions. Transactions are by default implemented. And if you're not giving the data source configuration in the application.properties or YAML file, if you're writing in the Java code, then you have to explicitly configure for the transaction management also. Okay, so I'm telling here enable the transaction management. I want to implement transaction also. Great, that's the first step. Yeah, after which I would like to just go back here and I will say here public data source type database once data source is the name of the method. Whatever is the name you want, you can give. I have given something like this. Of course, the name of the source is source. I would like to just take this. I would like to import it. Let me import. It is imported. Now I will say return data source builder dot create a data source dot build. One data source object will be ready, guys. The data source object I will hand over to my Spring. Point number one. Point number two, I'll go back here and say some basic configuration. I will say here configuration properties. Prefix I have not yet decided. So what I'm going to do right now is, everyone please here, I'll go back to application.properties. Now whatever code I'm writing, it is, even if you don't write, the same code can also be written inside the Java code hard coding. Avoid how much ever possible to not to have hard coded values, for which I'll write here db1 dot data source. Whatever db1 is there, guys, it is not predefined code. It is not the predefined code. Everyone, are you there with me? It is my choice of keys. You can give your own choice of keys whenever you want. db1 dot data source dot, I will say here jdbc hyphen url equals to, I will say a db1 dot data source dot username. It is not the predefined keys, my dear friends. It is my keys. db2 1 dot data source dot, I will say here password. See here, and here I would like to specify jdbc colon mysql colon localhost. Also you can specify. If it is in localhost, shortcut also you can write. If not, you can specify localhost 3306 port number, and then you can specify. Like this also you can write, both of them are same. Guys, already there is a database by the name Telesco DB. Inside the database, I have created the customer table and some data is there. I want to get connected to that existing table so that I can fetch the values. If not, we have to simply add the values and then we have to fetch it. Okay. And the username is simple. It is root in my local system. It says root 123 is what I have given. Saved it. I would like to go back in my db1 configuration. And what is the prefix I have to specify inside this Java code? I'll go back here. I would like to say here the prefix is db1 dot data source, or I'll go back here. Whatever I have given here, no, I would like to take it from here, come back here, and I would like to add it so that there is no mismatch of the spellings. I would like to import it. Done. My data source is ready. After which I have to disturb the existing behavior. See, this code is being used behind the scene also, but automatically it will read the data from application.properties. But right now I'm configuring inside the Java code, for which one class is used, entity manager factory bean class. I'll say local container entity manager factory bean equals to db1's entity manager. Entity manager is the name of the method I've given. And I would like to just go back and accept one parameter here. I should get hold of entity manager factory builder. Type entity manager factory builder is a reference variable. And after creating this, I'll hand over to my Spring. I'll say here bean. And now guys, I'll say here entity. Before that, I have to add the data source things here. What do you mean by that? I'll say here return entity manager factory bean dot data source. Entry manager, what is the reference variable? Somewhere spelling is wrong, I guess. Okay, factory builder. Okay. Now guys, every time you import, right, you'll have multiple options here. Please go with the Spring only. Okay, go with the Spring, not with the Hibernate. I'll say here finish. I will say entity manager factory bean dot data source. Data source is available inside this. It is not db1 2, it is db1. Okay, I would like to go back here. This entire method I will say here. Data source information you can find here. All right, then what else I can give? I will say here dot packages is there. Inside this I would like to specify within a package called as com dot telescope dot multi db project, right? Multi db project dot model dot customer. There is a pojo, please consider that pojo. That's the meaning of it. Com dot telescope dot multi db project dot model dot customer. Inside this package there is a class, consider that. Dot properties in the form of map I have to specify. I'll create the map properties here. I'll say hash map type string type of keys, any type of value which is object type of value, and I'll say here properties equals to new hash map. I would like to import, and those properties I have to add. Properties I'm referring to what, if you ask me, you'll understand by default. I'll say here properties dot put. In the form of key and value you have to add the values. I will say here the properties, guys. If I have to open any of the data JPA part, application dot properties, guys, do we have to do this? This is the property I would like to take it. Okay, I would like to take this property. Go back to my configuration. This is my key. Maybe I'll say here HBM2 also. HBM2 DDL auto. And what is the value for this, guys? What is the value for this? Let me check. What is the value? Value is update. So whatever we used to specify inside the application.properties, now we are specifying inside the Java code. That's it. This is property one. Like this, multiple properties are there. I would like to take this and add other properties. How much ever you feel like you can add it. Okay. Whatever properties you feel like. Maybe here we have a little less properties. I would like to open some other project. Let me see here how many properties we have. Aha, here I have not added the show SQL and all of that. Hibernate, at least here something is there. Let me take it. I would like to go back to my application, and this property I would like to specify here like this. And what is that? The value, guys? Value is true. And similar to this, I will say Hibernate dot. One more I want to add, which is show SQL. SQL query if you want. These are optional properties. But what is the purpose of these properties? Everyone knows, right? Even if you don't write this, it will work. But I'm adding this. Whatever we used to do in the application.properties, in the Java code, I'm doing that's it. Hibernate.dialect is also there. That also I have to add. I don't know which project I have used the dialect. These are all optional properties. If you don't add, it will not create any issues. I'll say here dialect. That means the SQL query should be generated based on what? That's the meaning of it. I would like to just check any of the databases for the dialect property, which I might have used. I would like to just consider any of the application, my dear friends. Did I use this? Dialects I have not used. Even if you don't use dialect, it will consider by default, but it is recommended to specify. Dialect means you are asking Hibernate that at the time of query generating, because Hibernate is the one who's writing the query on behalf of us. We are not writing the query. We are specifying that I look Hibernate generate the query based on MySQL database. SQL is same for 95% of the case. 5% SQL differs for the databases for PostgreSQL, Oracle, or MySQL. So I have to specify that dialect. Okay. Most of the times I have not used because using here is not was not recommended, but here I would like to use. The dialect I would like to choose here is organization dot hibernate. Hey, Hibernate, I'm requesting Hibernate. Please generate SQL queries based on MySQL database. Based on MySQL database. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So this I would like to first specify before the query is generated. Existing table I want to work with. And this is what I have specified here. Organization dot hibernate dot dialect dot MySQL and dialect. Okay. And this properties I would like to go here, take from here. I have added the same here. Properties I have added. Dot, I'll say persistence unit. Persistence unit, what is the name of the unit we are working with? Name of the unit is Telesco DB. Inside the database DBMS, this is the database I'm working with. I would like to specify within the double quotes. I've specified. I'll say dot build. And whatever it will give me, I have handed over to Spring. All good, guys, everyone. That is a version, Suresh. That's it. JDBC driver loading is not needed. Anil Tripathi from JDBC 4. And behind the scene, Hibernate uses JDBC 4 only, which is latest. And for latest JDBC version, loading the driver is optional. Okay, done. Now transaction also I have to implement by default, guys. Earlier it was implemented by Spring whenever you are writing the properties, but right now as a developer you have to write the transactions. Okay, I have to implement, though I have added one annotation that is not sufficient. I will say here public platform transaction manager type. Maybe I'll say db1 transaction manager. Okay, I would like to just go back here. I would like to just hand over here bean, and here I will say entity manager factory type factory. Let me import this, and transaction import it. I would like to just go back here and say return new JPA transaction manager, and within the manager I will specify this factory. Multiple factories might be eligible, for which I would like to just to say here, out of all, you please qualify what? Please qualify this DB1 entity manager. Others might also be there. Please inject this which I want. Don't inject whatever you feel like. Qualifier, sorry. Qualifier. Imported. Okay, it's done. And at the top of the class, one last annotation I have to add, enable JPA repositories, where I have to specify everything which I have written here. I'll say enable JPA repositories. Within this, let me import that first. Within this, I will say here entity manager factory reference. It is a predefined keys. Entity manager factory. Entity manager factory reference equals to what is the one. Number two, I will say transaction manager reference equals to what is the transaction which we are using. And number three, I will say here base packages. Base packages equals to, I have to specify. And entity manager is this. This is the method. This is the method where I'm writing this. It is done. And coming to the transaction manager also, I would like to say db1 transaction manager. I would like to take this method name because guys, whenever we are telling bean, right? Whenever bean gets created, the reference variable will be the method name behind the scene. So only I have to specify in that way. I would like to just go back here and specify here. And the base packages, all of them are present inside com dot telesco dot. What is the package, guys? Com dot telesco dot. Where is the repository presents, guys? For customer, where is the repository? Com dot telesco dot multidb project dot repository dot customer. MultiDB project dot repository dot customer. I think if the package is correct, yes, it is correct. It is imported. It's done. Same thing, I would like to take it from here. Go back to DB2 configuration. I'll make some changes. Of course, this is not there. Done. I would like to say here DB2 done. It is dot product. That's the package name, right? Dot PD. Yeah. And I'll give the method name as DB2 entity manager. I'll say here DB2 data source. DB2 data source. Okay, so here also I'll change it to DB2 entity manager, DB2 transaction manager. I'll go back and say DB2 transaction manager, DB2 data source information I've given there. Here the few things will change. I'm not using, I want my SQL not to generate the configuration based on this. I would like to say here, please don't generate based on this. Then please generate the package based on not MySQL dialect, based on PostgreSQL dialect. I'll say here PostgreSQL dialect, PostgreSQL dialect. The project must be, and we are working with the product, the package where the POJO is present is product. And inside this, I have created one database by the name TelescoDB. Okay, so that I have specified. I think it's done. And the names of the method is db2 only, db2 transaction management. And here I'll say db2 entity manager, db2 entity manager. And I want to start the journey from here. I'll say here primary. Done. I would like to just go back here. Prefix is not db1, db2 is the prefix. I would like to go back to my application.properties. And here I would like to specify one more time. And this time I'll say db2. It is not the predefined keys, guys. See here, db2 I'm giving. It is what I am writing here. It is what I am writing here. I would like to go back here. I'll say jdbc colon not mysql. I'll say here postgresql. I'll say here postgresql. PostgreSQL colon directly also you can specify if you want. Here also both the cases you can specify normally also, guys. Colon, you can specify a localhost colon. For the default port number for PostgreSQL is 5432. For MySQL 3306. 2707 I think for the MongoDB. Yeah. Telesco DB is the name of the database. And I have given in my local system the username I have given it as Postgres. Password I have given root123 only. Okay, I would like to save this. Yeah. I hope the spellings are also correct here. I would like to just go back to my configuration of DB2. Base package is correct, and here also I have specified that is also correct only. And a DB2 entity manager, that's 100% correct. Product is the package name, that's also correct. DB2 transaction manager method name also have changed. Here also have changed. Base package also I have changed. And all right, I want this to be considered first, and then the PostgreSQL MySQL part at the time of configuring. So I would like to say a primary here also. Out of both, it should start the journey with this Postgre, then MySQL. Okay, that's the reason I'm just writing this. Even if you don't write, it should not be major problem. Go back here. It's there. My fingers are crossed. I would like to go and deploy my application. Right click. I'll say here, run as the Java Spring Boot application. So far, no issues, guys. Application is deployed in 8484. Endpoints, get all CX, get all products. Till here it will be same, right? Go back here. What is that guide? Get all CX. Am I getting, guys? These customers I have already added in the table of the database. I'll say get all products. Any CRUD operation in that matter. Are you able to get connected? Yes. At once, are you able to connect multiple databases, multiple DBMSs of your Spring Boot? The answer is yes. We could able to do that. Everyone, the only thing is you have to do the lot of configurations here. Now guys, are you all able to imagine how easy Spring Boot is making our journey? Whatever code I have written here, right, same code is being used even when you specify the properties in application.properties. Instead of you, Java team will write that. Spring Boot team behind the scene will do the implementation on behalf of you. So you need not do this. Now this is special case that when you are connecting different DBMSs of a same project, you have to do this. Whenever you have to do that, then you have to write the configuration of your own. Now Spring Boot difficulty comes into picture only in one case. What is that one case? If you ask me, it is the manual configuration. Whenever you have to write the configuration on your own. But as a normal developer, Spring Data JPA guys, do we need to write something apart from an interface? As a normal Spring Boot developer, all this configuration, imagine guys, if application.properties and application.yaml file concept was not there and you had to write the configuration for everything, then people would have not even used Spring Boot only. All this every time if you have to do for just basic CRUD operations, then you would have felt that JDBC is better than this. JDBC is far better than this, where we just have to load the driver, establish the connection, create the prepared statement and just shoot the query instead of all these configurations, right? So, but Spring Data JDBs, I mean Spring Data JPA, all this is not required. This is special case wherein configuration manually doing. We are hard coding the configuration because of the special application requirement. The special application requirement here is we have to get connected to MySQL. We have to get connected to PostgreSQL at one go. And this type of situation might come. In the previous fast track batch, I had a student who told, when some of the student was like, why needed, I don't think so in the real time that one Spring Boot application will get connected to two different DBMSs. Then that other student told that, yes, in our project right now, we have such requirement. We are connecting our one application to multiple DBMSs, and this is how we do the configuration there. Okay. So this also you should be knowing it. So this is about the project number MultiDB configuration, guys. And what are the things which are left out in our case? Association. I have asked you to watch the Hibernate videos. In there, I have completed the association. Same goes one project I might consider in the Spring also. If not, existing project, whatever I have developed, in there I have used the concept of association. I will try to explain there. And apart from this, uh, I have to give you two more projects which you can consider as a example to develop more projects apart from whatever we have done in our live classes. Okay. Both of them are full-fledged projects. I have to give you that. And then microservices we have to discuss. Under the umbrella of microservices, Redis cache also have to discuss, which is how to connect Spring Boot with the Redis server. I have to discuss the use of Kafka, Apache Kafka, how it can be used with the Spring Boot and what is the need of this. What is the meaning of real-time data processing? And also we shall be discussing the microservices major concept. And then cloud deployment videos need to be uploaded, and one or two extra topics. Real API connection. Yeah, let's connect WhatsApp or any of the payment gateway. Okay, let's connect the real API also. That one. PayPal is all the configurations I have to do. Verify what is that? KYC I have to do. Saiji. So many things are there, but I'll see any one API with the things requirements a little less. Credit card, all these things is required. Instead of username and password of DB credentials directly in the application and properties, any way to do? No, you can do it in the Java code, Madhu. You can write in the Java code and load that variables there. Either Java code or application.properties file. Madhan. Two options you have. I could not get what you're trying to ask, Saiji. Allow me 1 minute of time, guys. I'm uploading these files and I shall discuss all the questions which you have. Do we usually get DB connection strings from the yes, we usually do that. I'll talk on this. Allow me 1 minute of time. I'm just zipping this file. The project name is MultiDB project, right? What is the project? Name of the project is MultiDB. M M M M M M M. Right click. I'll say compress as zip file. Go back here. Go back there. Data. TDB project. It is getting uploaded. Just go back here. And now Saiji has that question. What is that? Do we usually get DB connection strings from the AWS Palm Store, string store? The answer is yes. Yes. Oh, security team don't want to hardcode the credential directly in the application or properties. See, we can also separate the application.properties or YAML file also. But we can retrieve that. But lot of configuration again for that is used. Again, lot of configuration code you have to use, and you have to add separate dependencies. Then again, so much of code. We can get it. We can get it. What we have to do here is, in place of this, I'll have to open any of the project example. I would like to go back here. Key will remain same. Key will remain same. In the value, we just specify the variable name, the name where we have stored the data inside that AWS parameter. Where we have stored that name, we have to specify here. Getting it? Key will remain same here. This value we specify there. And little bit of configuration we have to write. We have to here write some predefined classes, some dependencies we have to add. So extra level of coding we have to do it. But these keys will not change there. Only values, instead of here, we just specify from whichever source we are taking. That source we have to specify here the password, here the username. Yes, Saiji. No, entire file also you can. There is something called a Spring Cloud config server, where you can separate the application.properties. Like you can keep that in GitHub repository. You can keep that entire file in some other place, and from there you can make that file work with this project. This file maybe you can separate from the existing project, so that you can, whenever you want, you can make the changes also, and the project will not be affected. And for which you have to write some other configuration. For everything, configurations are implemented. Yes, Saiji. There is something called as cloud config server, which is used to separate the YAML or dot properties file from your actual application. And you can keep that in separate place, separate location. You can keep that in the GitHub repository also securely with your own credentials, and you can load that. Maybe I'll try to demonstrate something as such going forward. Yeah, because of the security concerns, we do that. Extra configurations we have to write. That's it. And configurations are only one-time setup. Remember that, okay? Configurations are always one-time setup. It is not this thing. Yes, it works with Spring Security, Anurag. All these things can be stored with AWS parameter store. Again, for which lot of things, lot of code you may have to write, and it should work. Lot of Spring Security code also you have to configure. In the Spring Security code also you have to configure authorization request, you have to configure, and there also you have to configure. You have to first allow in the Spring Security configuration that it should be done there. Right now I don't have any example, but you can find somewhere it will be there. It should allow, as for the generic idea which I have. I'm pretty sure on this. But for which, since you are telling that Spring Security is blocking that, in the Spring Security code, you may have to allow that. You may have to authorize that. Whatever you are doing there, it will not block. You can use a. No, it's not recommended here. Wherever you want, you can write. Oh, again, it's not working. Huh? Let me open the Meta AI and check if I'm wrong on this. I'll say give me example of can we work advice with Spring Security. Yes, APS. There are some configuration code you have to write. That's it. It will work. Gemini and ChatGPT both says some code examples are there. We have to authorize the request. And yes, as I said, we have to do some configuration in the Spring Security also. Both ways we have to do it. Some configurations are being written in the Spring Security also. And some configurations are being done in the advice also. Yeah. The entire, can we develop normal applications with the Spring Boot? Yes, you can develop. But usually to develop one basic prototype application, we go with MERN stack. But whenever they want to really build a big layer, a larger enterprise level application, just to show the client, prototype can be developed in the MERN, but actually they'll come back to Java Spring Boot only for a big enterprise grade level applications. All the entire banking sector, the finance sector, healthcare sector, for all the larger applications, Java is dominating there. There is no escape from Java there. 90% of the applications, Java is dominating. So for bigger, whenever we have a plan of a larger application, silently industry will move to the Java only. The community support, the level of ACE is there in Java. It is not there with other languages. To get the resources also, highest number of resources are there from the Java background compared to other backgrounds. Sometimes bigger project you will decide I'll go with the Golang. It's fine. So maybe there are 200 developers are required. Can you accommodate 200 developers of the same? It's difficult to get. But Java, you can get it. You can get 2000 also. It's easier. What I'm trying to say is Java community is larger than any other community. So that's the reason most of the projects, also one of the reason, go with the Java. Because at the last moment, they'll not lose the resources. They'll not have issues of resources. Alright guys, that's all for today. We shall meet tomorrow exactly at, not tomorrow, sorry, on Monday exactly at 9 a.m. 7 a.m. and continue the journey. Upcoming Java batch will be evening 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. will be the upcoming Java batches starting from the 8th of January. Okay. Thank you guys. We shall meet again Monday exactly at 7 a.m. and start the journey of microservices. Thank you, every one of you. There is no board work today.